everyone, welcome back. If you remember from our last video, we removed the loose stones from the top courses of our old stone wall. Today, we're diving into the exciting phase of rebuilding it. As you can see, past repairs have involved cement between the stones, which isn't ideal. Our plan is to chisel out that old cement and replace it with proper lime mortar in an attempt to restore the wall to this former state. This wall is about 30 meters in length, making this a tedious and long process. That's why we haven't posted in a while. In order to remove the old concrete, we used a mixture of power and hand tools. Here you can see the result in this section. One of the main jobs was to create a footing for the two areas that needed building from the ground up. This part, where the old steps were, was relatively straightforward. We just needed to dig a little trench and pour some concrete in. The other part, however, was a little bit more of a challenge. The ground here is on a slope, although you can't really appreciate it on camera. Also, this is where the future steps will go, and we had to take that into consideration when creating the footing. Then began by marking the step locations and compacting the ground. Next, we poured several batches of relatively dry concrete to create a base for the new wall. Typically, you would dig a trench for the first row of stones. However, because we needed to raise the ground level by about 150 millimeters, we skipped that step. If you look closely, you can see that Ben has hammered in wooden pegs and cut them to the desired height. This will serve us as reference for laying down our dry packed concrete. You can also see piles of rocks scattered around. These are all from around the garden, and even some from our neighbor's garden. They wanted to clear out their own space, and it was a win-win situation. The best part is that all these stones are very similar to the original ones in the wall, so they should blend in quite well together. With the footings complete, it's time to create a new set of steps. In order to reinstate the original steps, we combined the base of our scaffolding tower, a hoist, and two bolted wooden beams. This setup allows for precise adjustments as we place the steps back into position. This 200-year-old wall has seen its fair share of poorly executed repairs over the years, so we wanted to take our time and do things as well as possible. In order to speed up the process a bit, we got an extra pair of hands on this project. The original steps We're just sat directly on top of mud, but we are building a solid structure beneath them to support them using concrete blocks. The sides will then be covered by stones continuing the same pattern as the wall. Then used a stone grinding disc to create flat surfaces where the irregular steps overlap. This should allow one to sit flat on top of the other. As usual, I can always count on the dogs to help Ben while I'm at work. Once the steps were in place and the wall was shaping up, we started thinking about the finishing touches. You would typically use uniform stones for the top layer. However, we decided to embrace a quirky look by using the stones we had on hand. We opted for an alternating pattern of large and small stones, which also took some time to perfect. You'll notice these larger stones at the bottom. We found them around the garden and we brought them down to be used as the base of the new sections of wall. However, they turned out to be a bit too big, so we decided to incorporate them on the top layer. Taking them back up and placing them in position was considerably harder than we thought. It might not look like it, but it's a very steep hill up the garden and the stones are incredibly heavy. We measured the wall and spaced the 6 big stones evenly throughout. We love how the top layer turned out, so it was definitely worth it. I think it will look really nice when plants start to grow between the stones. At this stage, the pointing is nearly complete using lime mortar, which not only looks significantly better than old concrete, but also aligns more closely with the wall's original aesthetic. Some areas still need a bit of brushing, so you might notice that the fresher spots appear darker. Overall, you can get a decent idea of what the final result will look like. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, it's all finished and even out. We will post a short update with the final result. This has been a nearly 3-month project, but we're pretty pleased on how it's turning out. Now, all that's left is to build the front fence and then the property's perimeter will be complete. Thank you for all your comments and encouragement throughout this journey. We will keep the videos coming as we tackle new challenges. Thanks for watching.